Irodov problem number 1.133. There are two stationary fields of force F equals Ay I cap and another force F equals Ax I cap plus By j cap, where I and j are the unit vectors of the x and y axis and A and B are constants. Find out whether these fields are potential. So there are two forces given. One force is, let me write it here, F equals Ay I cap. Another force is Ax I cap plus By j cap. Okay. The question is to find out if these fields are potential. What does that mean? So first of all, most important concept, potential energy, or more accurately change in potential energy, is defined only for conservative forces. Okay. So for example, if we have the force of gravity, it's a conservative force. So therefore, there is a potential energy associated with force of gravity. Okay. Electrostatic force is a conservative force. So therefore, potential energy is associated with electrostatic force. Another example will be spring force. That too is a conservative force. So potential energy is defined for spring force. But you will never hear potential energy defined for friction force because it's not a conservative force. Okay. So if this force is potential, then it must be a conservative force. Okay. Now, how do we find out whether a particular force is a conservative force or not? The condition is a force is conservative if and only if all these conditions are satisfied. Del f, del fx, del y should be equals to del fy, del x, and del fx, del z should be equals to del fz, del x, and del fy, del z should be equals to del fz, del y. Okay. So now let's examine this force. Del fx del y for this force. So fx del y is A. Del fy del x, there is no y component of force. This is 0. So right away we can see that this condition is not satisfied. So, and as soon as any of these conditions are not satisfied, we don't need to check any further. So this particular force is not potential. Okay. So maybe we can write okay. Now let's look at this force. Del fx del y. Del fx is Ax, del y is 0. Del fy del x. Del fy del x is also 0. So this condition is satisfied. Del fx del z. Does this vary by z? No. So this is 0. Del fz, fz is 0. So this is also satisfied. Now let's look at this. Del fy del z. Does the y force vary with z? No. 0. Fz is 0. So all three conditions are satisfied. Therefore, this force we can say F equals Ax I cap plus By cap, F is potential. Okay. Or we can also, so the field is not potential, and this we can write that this is non-conservative force. So the field is not potential, this is a conservative force. So the field is potential.